Before the taping started, I took Joe and Larry on a quick tour of the museum that Glory has created here at the studio. Reminiscing with them was especially meaningful because we have a shared history. And for Joe and me, Southern gospel was a very big part of it.
Let me tell you just a quick story. Back in the early 80s, I have to admit, there was about a 10-year span there where I didn't think as much about gospel music.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We recorded some still,
Yeah.
but I didn't think about the gospel music industry much.
Yeah.
We were working on our career, pounding hard and everything else. I came in on a red-eye flight one morning, and I know you've read this in one of my books, but I came in and I got in bed. I told my wife, I said, I'll sleep for a couple hours, man. I am beat. But I couldn't sleep, so I put on the TV for a minute, and I saw the very first homecoming video.
Yeah.
The very first one. And you know, for all of us guys, it was Southern gospel that got us started.
Yeah.
As little kids, we wanted to sing. You were that way.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you've told us the story of them waiting on the mail to get the albums. I was that way in Philly.
Yeah.
And seeing that homecoming video and seeing all of the groups that I loved so much over all those years singing on that homecoming video changed my life again. Changed my life again. And I started got interested in gospel music again. And still kept doing what we were doing.
Sure.
But I had regained my love for what you all did and do.
That's great.
And then, maybe 10 years later, 11 years later, we did the From the Heart album. And then you invited us to be on a homecoming in Indianapolis, up there in the hotel room.
The fun.
First one we were ever on. And I could not believe now I'm in a homecoming video. Tell you something. And so the young songwriter that wrote the song, who we can't think of his name right now, our producer David Cobb always has these.
Bill Gaither and Dwayne Allen.
Bill Gaither and Dwayne Allen. But the cool thing is, I said to him when I met the writer, I said, man, we love this song. It's just such a cool little song. He said, man, thanks, guys. I'm really humbled. I said, you know, me trying to be funny, I said, it's about the happiest sounding song I ever heard of a loved one passing away. And he said, without missing a beat, that's the point. That's the point. Amen.
Meanwhile, back in the room, is Larry polishing Dwayne's shoes? Such a servant heart.
Oh, get a good picture of this, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, get a good picture. We can use this for
This
decades.
is kind of a modern day version of a foot washing right here. Now let me get the top of that bald head. I'm talking to you, Bill.
What'd you say, Joe?
I said, man, we're in the big chairs. I hope that doesn't mean we're going to die. Everybody I see on the video in the big chair is not here anymore.
To live is Christ, to die is gain.
That's true, but I just don't want to go yet.
Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. These guys have always had a heart for social outreach, social justice, social unrest, people who are not as fortunate as we are. I can remember calling you back in the 80s when you were out doing Elvira every night. I say, where are you? They said, we're in a hospital singing for a little guy who just loves the Oak Ridge, you know? And I said, Wayne, God bless you. It was
You know something?
What?
That was in St. Louis,
Yeah.
and he could not move anything but his eyelids. And when we came in and started singing Elvira, his eyelids went like that. That's all he could move. And we were singing Elvira on Children's Miracle Network. They were taping it. And when it got to the chorus, it got to me, and I couldn't sing. And I just ducked under the counter, went out in the hall, and some of the people that were with us sang my part and just kept it going. And I got myself under control and came back before we finished it and got back into the camera. But that was probably one of the best concerts we've ever given in our entire career. Was just that one little boy couldn't move one thing. And when he saw William Lee Golden and saw his beard, he went,
I love the heart of these guys. So when we showed him this song about a little kid and his face pressed up against the window looking for his daddy to come home, and his mom trying very hard to fill the void. And the second verse of the song talks about a guy who lost his job, losing his house. This guy calls me and gives me a 30-minute sermon on why he loved this song and he wanted to do it. And I wanted to write it. Gloria knows one of my favorite Christmas carols, or a line in a Christmas carol, is a carol that says, the hopes and fears of all the years still rest in you tonight. And I don't know how many times I have talked to a friend who's gone through real hard stuff. And I say, I don't know what you're going through. All I know is the person that we worship, that we follow, that we love. The hopes and fears of all the years rest in you. So you put on this project, and you were so excited about it. You kept calling me every day and said, that's the best new song ever. You want to sing it?
I'd love to. I would love, before I sing it, Joe says something right before we go on to do this song every night. Would you just say what you normally say on stage every night?
Well, what I normally say is we've got this on a Christmas album. We did it on our Christmas tour, but it's not really a Christmas song per se. But if you really listen hard and close to the words, it still teaches us that the same Jesus that was born in that manger thousands of years ago is still the same Jesus that can solve your problems today. Kind of unique how far back. There's nobody except maybe Charlie Daniels that we go as far back with as the Gatlins. I joined the Oak Ridge Boys in 1973 And I was the new guy. I'm still the new guy. These guys were here longer. And right after that, we worked a lot with Johnny Cash. And Johnny had us, Richard was playing with Elvis in the early 70s at the International. Then they changed that in Las Vegas to the Las Vegas Hilton. And we would go in there with Johnny Cash. And Larry Gatlin was singing down in the other showroom in that same hotel. Now, Dwayne and Larry knew each other for years. They grew up together. But what we would do is, Johnny let us open with 12 minutes of gospel songs. Then we would hang out in the back and then sing Oohs and Ahs on the night they drove Old Dixie down. And then we would come out and sing with Johnny at the end of his show, and then run downstairs and listen to Larry Gatlin. And then we'd go back up. They had 2 shows a night. We would do the second show with Cash, come down and then hear Larry's last show, and then we'd hang out in the dressing room down there. And I'm talking 1974 here. And just sing and laugh and talk and sing. And listen to that man sing his songs on that stage. Just blew us all away all the time. And then when the brothers joined, holy cow, we just loved them. And how cool it is that all these years later, we're still here and we're still brothers.
Amen, brother.
Brothers.
You're right. Brother. You're right.